HOA president called the cops on me, didn't know my wife was running dispatch. The sun was dipping low, painting the Karen Acres cul-de-sac in hues of amber and regret. I stood on my front lawn, the grass slightly overgrown enough to make Gerald Hawthorne, the HOA president, lose his mind. He'd been after me for weeks, his letters stuffed in my mailbox like petty indictments. Trim your hedges, paint your mailbox, conform. Today, though, he'd escalated. His polished loafers clicked on the pavement as he marched toward me, clipboard in hand, his face a mask of righteous fury. "You're a disgrace, Tom," Gerald barked, his voice echoing off the cookie-cutter houses. "This lawn is a violation of Section 3.2.1. I'm calling the cops." The neighbors peeked from behind curtains, their whispers a low hum. I crossed my arms, my work boots rooted to the ground. I'd had enough of his power trips. Karen Acres was a prison of his making, and I wasn't bowing to his rulebook. "Go ahead, Gerald," I said, my voice steady but laced with defiance. "Call them. Let's see how this plays out." His eyes narrowed, and he pulled out his phone, dialing with theatrical flair. The crowd grew Mrs. Larson clutching her poodle, the Wilsons lingering on their porch. This wasn't just about grass. It was about control, about Gerald's need to dominate every inch of this neighborhood. What Gerald didn't know, what nobody knew, was that my wife, Sarah, was on duty tonight. She ran dispatch at the county police station, the calm voice guiding officers through chaos. I hadn't told her about Gerald's crusade. Didn't need to. Sarah knew me. She'd sense the tension in my voice if I called. But as Gerald ranted, his spittle flying, I felt a flicker of unease. This was spiraling. Minutes later, a patrol car rolled up, its lights cutting through the dusk. Officer Daniels stepped out, a young guy with a tired look. Gerald pounced, waving his clipboard like a scepter. "Officer, this man's lawn is a public nuisance. I demand action." Daniels glanced at me, then the grass, his expression neutral. I could tell he'd rather be anywhere else. "Tom, right?" Daniels said, recognizing me from the station's annual barbecue. "What's going on here?" Before I could answer, Gerald cut in, his voice shrill. "He's defying HOA regulations. This is about community standards." I laughed, bitter. "Standards? You mean your ego, Gerald? You've been harassing me for months." The crowd murmured, some nodding, others shaking their heads. Then, a new voice broke through, sharp, unexpected. "Gerald, you're out of line." It was Mrs. Carter, the quiet widow from across the street. She stepped forward, her frail frame trembling with anger. "You fined me $200 for my rose bushes last year. Said they were too wild. You're a bully." The neighbors gasped. Mrs. Carter, the recluse who never spoke, was calling him out. The air crackled with tension. Gerald's face flushed crimson. "This isn't about you, Evelyn," he snapped. But the crowd was shifting. Whispers turned to murmurs of agreement. I saw it in their eyes, years of resentment bubbling up. Gerald's reign was cracking. But he doubled down, jabbing a finger at Daniels. "Arrest him. He's breaking the law." Daniels sighed, rubbing his temple. "Sir, a lawn isn't exactly a felony." But Gerald was relentless, his voice rising to a near scream. That's when my phone buzzed. "Sarah." I stepped back, answering quietly. "Tom, what's happening?" "I just got a call about a disturbance at our address. Gerald's losing it on the radio." Her voice was calm but edged with worry. "He called the cops," I said, keeping my eyes on Gerald. "Didn't know you were on tonight." She paused, then chuckled, low and dangerous. "Oh, this is rich. Hold tight." I hung up, my heart pounding. Sarah was no pushover. Gerald had no idea what he'd unleashed. Minutes later, another car pulled up, not a patrol car, but the chief's. Chief Ramirez stepped out, his presence commanding silence. Gerald froze. Ramirez walked over, his voice calm but firm. "Mr. Hawthorne, I got a direct call from dispatch. Seems you're wasting police resources on a lawn dispute." Gerald stammered, his clipboard trembling. But the regulations." Regulations don't trump common sense. Ramirez cut in. Dispatch also flagged your history. Multiple complaints about HOA overreach. You're on thin ice. The crowd erupted in murmurs, some cheering softly. Mrs. Carter smiled, a rare sight. Gerald's face crumpled, his authority evaporating. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. Ramirez turned to me. Tom, Sarah told me to check your mailbox. Confused, I walked over and pulled out a folded note, tucked behind Gerald's latest citation. It was in Sarah's handwriting. Check Gerald's backyard. He's hiding something. My stomach dropped. I handed the note to Ramirez, who read it and nodded. An hour later, the truth unraveled. A quick search of Gerald's property approved by a judge, thanks to Sarah's tip, revealed a shed full of stolen landscaping equipment, taken from neighbors to enforce his standards. Gerald, the self-appointed king of Karen Acres, was a thief. The crowd watched as he was cuffed, his protests drowned by their jeers. Mrs. Carter hugged me, tears in her eyes. Thank you, she whispered. But the victory felt hollow. As the police cars left, I stood on my lawn, staring at the stars. Gerald was gone, but the neighborhood was fractured. Trust was broken, not just in him but in the system we'd all let fester. Sarah came home later, her face weary. I didn't want it to end like this, she said, squeezing my hand. I nodded, the weight of it all settling in. We'd won, but at what cost?